My name is Steve Vickers from Star FM. If you listen to Star FM, I'm your Mukwasha, also from Supersport and from BBC as well. So it's good to be here. I think we're going to learn a lot and have a lot of things to put into practice. We're going to have a question and answer session at the end of our program, but also if time permits, at the end of each speaker's presentation, we'll try to slot in one or two questions as well. So we want it to be interactive so that we can ask questions and get answers for those. Like I say, we hope it will be informative and practical and help us to cut our costs in a business situation. And pleased that the weather has improved as well, isn't it? So the last few days have been like Manchester in England, but in this glorious setting we got the sunshine back here today. So welcome, and for some opening remarks, Cornwell Nembere is the Chief Executive of SGC, so let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much, Steve. My name is Cornwell Nembere. I'm the team leader at Standard Global Communications. We'd like to welcome you at the inaugural Enterprise Office Communications Summit. I hope that at the end of the summit, you will have information that you can use at your organizations to help you reduce telephone costs by at least about 50%. So we'd like to thank our presenters. We have a very strong line of presenters who are going to give us their presentations on the various topics that's lined up today. So I hope we all enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Nembere. So it sounds great, doesn't it? Cutting telephone costs. To start our program, we have two speakers from Potraz talking about telephone tariffs in Zimbabwe, the situation as it is right now. So our first speaker is Mr. Marufu from Potraz.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this summit. My name is Shingrai Marufu. I'm from Potraz. I'm an engineer in the Telecommunications Network Division. And with me is Mr. Talen Munyaradzi, who is in the Economics, Tariffs and Competition. I think Mr. Munyaradzi is going to talk more about the tariffs. And then me, my only job here is to introduce the licenses that we have in Potraz and why we have got different tariffs. I'll start by introducing the PSTN, of what a license called the Public Switched Telecommunication Network Services. That is the fixed network, which is Tel 1. And then we've got three mobile network operators. I think we all know them. This is the Public Cellular Mobile Telecommunication Network Service license. Here we've got Telecom and Net 1. And then apart from that, also we've got other categories who offer voice services. We've got the internet access providers. In these internet access providers, we've got two classes. We've got the internet access providers, class A, and the internet access providers, class B. The internet access providers, class A, they also offer voice. It's voice over internet protocol. So we'll be talking much about the voice tariffs, especially for the voice. And then we've got the internet access providers, class B. This class just offers internet only, and there's no voice over IP. So in terms of tariffs in Zimbabwe, we've got what are known as on-net tariffs, that is network to network, like Tel 1, Tel 1 to 10 equals, they're called on-net tariffs. And then we've got also on-net tariffs from Econet to Net 1, Telecom to Telecom, and then for the voice operators it's the same. And then we've got off-net tariffs, that is from one operator to another. So we've got the three different categories, and we've got the different tariffs. So from now onwards, Mr. Talen Munyaradzi will come here and present the actual tariffs. This is from the Economics, Tariffs and Competition. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Maru, for giving an idea of the situation as it is at the moment. Talent.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Talent Nyaraz. I am the Economic Studies and Competition Division within Potraz. I will make a short presentation that will focus in brief on the establishment of Potraz, some of the functions of Potraz, an overview of the legal framework that governs the operations of Potraz, as well as just a brief of how tariffs are determined. Then lastly, I'll conclude by showing you a table that indicates some of the approved tariffs that are used in the telecoms industry. Potraz was established through the promulgation of the Postal and Telecommunications Act, Chapter 4.05 of 2000, with the view of having a driver or a manager of the Postal and Telecommunications sector at home, and it also facilitates for broader socio-economic objectives, and it is also there to defend against undue dominance in marketplaces by one or more participants, and it also acts as a catalyst for private investment in the postal and telecommunications industry. Some of the functions that Potraz perform are to ensure provision of sufficient domestic as well as international telecommunications and postal services throughout Zimbabwe. It also promotes the development of postal and telecommunications services and systems in accordance with mainly ITU standards. By ITU, I mean International Telecommunications Union standards. And we also exercise licensing and regulatory function in respect of postal and telecommunications systems, including establishments of standards. The other function is to promote the interests of consumers, purchasers, and other users in respect of quality of service, variety of service, and we also monitor and set tariffs for cellular, telecommunications, postal, and as well as courier licenses. Now, this is just the legal framework that governs our functions. On the top is the primary legislation. The main act that governs our actions is the Postal and Telecommunications Act, Chapter 4.05 of 2000. When it comes to tariff regulations, Section 100 of this act we have more regarding the approvals of tariffs. And we also have secondary legislation. These are regulations, directive, instruments, or guidelines. And we also have authorization, like type approvals. Yeah, in terms of tariff determination, in telecommunications industry, there are a lot of models that can be used, or methods that can be used to determine tariffs that will be used by licensed operators. One of them is benchmarking. Benchmarking that is mainly looking at what other maybe jurisdictions or maybe other countries are doing. Let's say maybe if you say Mozambique, they charge 5 cents per minute. or maybe Zambia, they charge 6 cents per minute. You might say Zimbabwe is more like similar to Zambia, so maybe you might need just to copy what they are doing as benchmarking. A good example of the kind of that is Namibia. And some other regulators or other jurisdictions might choose to introduce price caps, whereby they say for a voice call, maybe or net call, the tariff should not be above this, or maybe should not be below this level. And others might decide to use what is called retail miners. This method is mainly used to determine tariffs for interconnection rates, whereby they first come from the actual retail tariff. Let's say the actual retail tariff, in our case, it's 23 cents. And then they work from there to come up with by removing whatever components that they feel maybe is not related to interconnection, to come up with the interconnection charge. Then we also have cost-oriented approaches, and this is the approach that we as Potraz, as Zimbabwe, we use. That is, all the tariffs for post and telecommunication services are cost-based. And under this category, there are two methods that can be used. One is fully distributed costing methodology, and an example of it is what is written as costing model. A costing model is a costing model that we have been using in Zimbabwe from 2004 until 2009. It was a model that was developed by the International Telecommunications Union to help regulators and countries in calculating the cost for telecommunication services. And the reason why we are no longer using it is it's no longer applicable to the developments that have been taking place in the industry, because the model was designed for circuit switched networks, but all because of the developments in the form of mobile data, internet and the like, the model cannot be applicable for that. So we abandoned it, and we are now using a model called LYRIC, which stands for Long Run Incremental Costing Methodology. And this is what we have been trying to do. We have been doing some consultation and the like, and we also managed to get a consultant who did a project for us. And now we are more like in the implementation stage of trying to review our tariffs. Now, this slide simply shows some of the reasons why cost-based tariffs, we prefer cost-based tariffs as opposed maybe to issues like benchmarking or price caps. Because the ultimate goal of tariff regulation is social welfare. We want the consumers to benefit, we also want the service providers to benefit. So to come up with a situation whereby both parties benefit, the tariffs have to be cost-based, and a correct modeling process has to be used that incorporates all knowledge about concepts as well as methods to determine the unit cost of providing telecommunication services. Yeah, this table now, it shows these are the current approved tariffs. These tariffs, they were approved for the case of mobile operators and fixed operators, they were approved in 2009. And then for the case of web operators, they were approved in 2009.